Time is a straight line only for us. But for the soul, everything is simultaneous. Past, present, and future oscillate together. There is a space that we cannot see with the eye, but that we feel. Many people experience a sense of familiarity somewhere in the middle of their lives that they cannot explain. They feel as if they have been there before, even though they are visiting a place for the first time. They establish a bond with someone they have just met, as if they have known them for years. Or they carry more experiences than can fit into a lifetime in recurring dreams. These feelings are the first cracks in the door that opens to a secret, past lives. The soul continues to learn by passing from one body to another, from one time to another. This is an ancient cycle of existence. This concept, which we call reincarnation, has found a place in many cultures, religions, and philosophical systems for thousands of years, sometimes blessed, sometimes excluded, but never eliminated. Because humanity is faced with the same question again and again. Who am I? Why am I here? And have I been here before? Reincarnation literally means reincarnation. It means that the soul, after gaining experience in a body, leaves this body with death and is reborn in another body. According to this belief, death is not the end, it is a transition. The soul is born, lives, dies, and is reborn many times until it completes its learning in the physical world. This concept is one of the basic building blocks in Eastern philosophies, such as Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. According to Hindu teachings, the soul, Atman, is immortal, independent of physical bodies. It balances its karma, the law of causes and effects, by being born in various bodies throughout lives. There is a similar cycle in Buddha's teachings, the wheel of samsara. This wheel symbolizes birth, death, and rebirth, and the person's release from this wheel means reaching nirvana. However, reincarnation is not only a system of thought in the East. Ancient Greek philosophers Pythagoras, Socrates, and Plato put forward ideas about the soul's transition from body to body. In his work, The Republic, Plato describes how souls are judged in the afterlife after death and then sent to the new lives they deserve. This view is almost exactly the same as the Eastern belief in karma. The belief in reincarnation can be traced back thousands of years to the prehistoric era of humanity. In Egypt, pharaohs were mummified in their quest for immortality. Their bodies were preserved, and it was believed that their souls would return. The Book of the Dead describes in detail the soul's journey in the afterlife. During the same period, rituals were developed in Tibetan Buddhism for the reincarnation of lamas. Each reincarnation of the Dalai Lama was attempted to be determined through various signs and intuitive tests. According to the Celts and Druids, souls were intertwined with nature and passed from one life to another. Native American shamans argue that people lived not only in this world but also in spiritual dimensions. The animistic traditions of Africa, the Aboriginal people of Australia, the tribes of the Amazon, all of them accepted that the soul migrated between bodies in some way. An interesting detail in history is that the belief in reincarnation existed in the first Christian communities. The resurrection of Jesus after death was seen not only as a miracle, but also as a metaphor for a greater spiritual transformation. However, in 553 AD, the belief in reincarnation was officially declared heretical at the Second Council of Constantinople. Nevertheless, this belief continued to live on in mystical sects, secret orders, and occult traditions. Thousands of people from all over the world share surprising information about their past lives. The situations seen in young children are especially striking. Children who are not yet able to read and write and who have no access to historical information can speak other languages, remember details about people who lived in distant countries, and even tell the way they died in their past lives. American psychiatrist Dr. Ian Stevenson has studied over 2,500 cases of children over a period of 40 years, and has been able to prove that most of them are correct in their previous life. For example, a child living in India claims to be a man who lived in another village and was murdered. He is taken to that village and recognizes his family, shows the place of death, and gives accurate details of the murder. Similarly, regression therapies with hypnosis have begun to be performed in the West. People can go back to their past lives under hypnosis and display names, historical information, and even speech in foreign languages belonging to that period. One of the most well-known names in this field in the second half of the 20th century was Dolores Cannon. The quantum hypnosis therapy, QHHT, she developed allows individuals to connect with both their past lives and spiritual beings. Reincarnation is not a simple cycle of repetition. This cycle is a spiritual education system. Every life is a lesson. The first of the laws that govern this process is the law of karma. We reap what we sow. This is valid not only in this life but also in previous lives. A person's current experiences may echo the steps they took in their past lives. Another important concept is soul contracts. According to the belief in reincarnation, we make agreements with other souls before we come to this world. Sometimes they appear before us as our enemy, our teacher, or a family member. These agreements are to serve the evolution of the soul. In addition, not every soul is alone. Similar souls are embodied together in communities called soul groups. Sometimes they cross paths as mother and daughter, sometimes as friends, and sometimes as enemies. However, each meeting is an extension of a previously experienced bond. Western psychology has long distanced itself from these concepts. However, Carl Jung's theory of the collective unconscious and archetypal symbols argues that the individual is shaped by unconscious traces from the past. Modern regression therapies also draw strength from this idea, aiming to resolve present-day traumas by delving into the person's past lives. In regression sessions, individuals can enter the healing process by remembering the traumas they experienced in their past lives and confronting the present. For example, if someone with a fear of drowning remembers that they died in the sea in the past, this fear may be resolved. These therapies are used not only for spiritual discovery, but also in the field of psychological healing. If lives are a cycle, why are we reborn each time? What is the real purpose of the soul? Spiritual teachings say that the soul's sole purpose in existence is to evolve. This evolution occurs not only by gathering information, but also by developing high spiritual qualities such as love, patience, forgiveness, courage, and understanding. Every life is a test. Sometimes we are born poor and learn our relationship with abundance. Sometimes we struggle with illness and get to know ourselves beyond the body. Sometimes alone, sometimes in a crowd, but we always come to learn something. In some belief systems, it is said that coming to the world is according to a certain plan. In the world of souls, a kind of life plan is made. According to this plan, the soul determines which parents it will be born from, which country it will live in, and what kind of tests it will go through. However, this plan gains flexibility with free will. If life is a theater play, the script is certain, but acting is improvisational. The soul's purpose is not only to improve itself, but also to contribute to the collective consciousness. Each soul's experience carries a piece of information to the universal mind. Individual evolution is a part of the universal awakening. Like every strong belief, the belief in reincarnation has been criticized, questioned, and tried to be tested with scientific methods. Some scientists talk about the mixture of unconscious memories, cultural influences, or products of imagination created by the brain to explain past life memories. The accuracy of memories, especially under hypnosis, has been frequently discussed on the grounds that they are open to manipulation. However, there are examples where such explanations are inadequate. Details that children tell before they have been exposed to any cultural influence, historically verifiable information, death marks that match medical files, birthmarks on their bodies from past lives, even foreign accents in some people's speech from past lives. All of these are too complex to be explained by imagination alone. Although reincarnation has not yet been scientifically proven, it has not been completely refuted. This makes it a mystical field that bridges belief with science. If the soul is reborn again and again, and this life is one, who we are now is a reflection of who we were in the past. At the same time, the seeds of who we will be in the future are hidden in the present us. Time is not linear for the soul, it is cyclical. Every moment is both the beginning and the end. The deepest message that reincarnation gives us is that life is not random. Every encounter, every experience, every difficulty is a path that our soul knows better than we do. This belief gives meaning to life. It even makes pain a sacred teacher, because pain is the most permanent learning tool in the soul's memory. What we remember about our past lives is not only a nostalgic curiosity, it is also healing. The soul becomes whole only as we remember. Remembering is spiritual awakening, because we cannot solve the present without understanding the past, and we cannot shape the future without understanding the present. And maybe that is why sometimes we feel a strange warmth inside us when we look into the eyes of a stranger. Maybe when a child smiles, we find a 1,000-year-old friendship in their gaze. Sometimes we cannot make sense of our tears in a book, in a piece of music, in a city, because the soul remembers something about those moments. Memories that seem to be forgotten continue to live in a corner of the heart. Reincarnation is not just a belief in rebirth. It is also a 1,000-year-long effort of a person to understand who they are, why they are here, and where they are going. This endeavor is both a spiritual quest and a path to universal wisdom. Our past lives shape our current personality, fears, passions, and talents, even if we are not aware of it. In order to know ourselves more deeply, sometimes we may need to look back, much further back, rather than forward. Because time is circular, and perhaps every ending is a new beginning. Souls will continue to come. Lives will begin, end, and begin again. A little more awareness, a little more love, a little more integrity at every step. Because ultimately the soul is not just a body, it is an echo of eternity. And as always, we have come to the end of an episode where we open the doors to the unseen world. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next mystery.